FPL Game Week 9. FPL Game Week 8 was the return of Premier League football following the international break, and it was a complete train wreck with red arrows everywhere. So today we'll be going through my updated watch list and verified power ranking, the top 5 for the next 5, as well as a wild card. So if you enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe. Let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert, where arrows go green, or we try to make them green, because it's yet again another red arrow, and we'll get into that in my team selection video later this week. But yeah, we'll be talking about the Vert verified power ranking, which is my top 5 for the next 5 across all the positions. And first we have Pickford, and he's only one of 2 to hold on to the top spot in this week's ranking, following his back-to-back clean sheets at Ipswich. And given the next 5 fixtures that Everton have, I would have him as the number 1 performing goalkeeper at the moment. But if I was buying new for a wildcard, for example, it would be Sells, following his monster 11-point haul last night against Crystal Palace. He doesn't have as good fixtures as Pickford, but this would be a plug and play, and I think the 0.3 is a good saving considering what you can do for the rest of the squad. And the rest of the best are a pretty poor punch. They're just the best of the worst. So Onana edges it with his points per match, and like Onana and Pickford, Emi Martinez is a penalty saving specialist and definitely one to keep an eye on. You never know where you'll get a random point like that. Leno makes his first appearance in this year's power ranking following his assist, but yeah, at 5 million I would still go for Sells. In a season where clean sheets are hard to come by, or maybe teams are just getting better at attacking these days, we're now targeting defenders that can contribute to goals. And as we saw last season at Estadio Santiago Bernabeu in the Champions League, and at home to Luton and away to Fulham, Josko Vardiol is a seasoned striker cosplaying as a defender. His most recent goal against Wolves was from outside the box with his weak foot, and is actually his second goal in 3 league games, following his well-taken goal at Newcastle. And given that Arsenal and Gabriel have seemingly gone off the boil with pretty terrible fixtures to come up, I think this is the premium defender that we should all be owning at the moment. As mentioned previously, Pickford is playing very well, he's keeping clean sheets, but so are Everton's defence, and at 4.1, Michael Keane represents incredible value, so it's a very easy route into an improving Everton. And I've heard that Michael Keane was originally a goal-scoring midfielder in Manchester United's academy, and that's very evident by his latest Aguero-esque finish against Ipswich, so he'd be number 2 for me. Ethan Pinnock has now scored in back-to-back league games for Brentford, following his latest goal at Man United, and has a very kind fixture run, and at 4.5 is great value. Murillo at Forest constantly goes on these runs when you're watching Forest, and eventually it's going to result in a goal. And of course, Nottingham Forest themselves are very tight, solid defensively as well, and they're keeping many clean sheets at the moment, so they would be number 4 for me. And Pedro Porro, he comes in because he's just taking up very exciting positions, and in terms of the eye test and excitement that you want to get from owning a defender, Pedro Porro is someone that you want to own. Now for the exciting part, the midfielders, especially in a week where most will be looking for Saka replacements. Following his injury, he didn't play against Bournemouth, and as of Monday, he was not pictured in training ahead of Arsenal's Champions League game against Shakhtar Donetsk. So it looks like he might not be available, and not even including that, Arsenal's fixture run is not the best, and there are definitely other performing midfielder assets. So where do we go? Well, Palmer is still my number 1. He's top for goal involvements, and he just edges value with Salah at 6.4 points per million compared to the Egyptian King's 5.9 million. He's also top for goals out of all midfielders with 6, and he's only behind Salah for big chances at 8. He's also top for big chances involvement, having created 9 big chances for his teammates, so his big chance involvement at 17 is top out of all midfielders. Salah, the Egyptian King, reminded us all that he's still the man, even in big games, and his 23 shots in the box is only behind Johnson, but he has a conversion rate of 20.8% compared to the Tottenham wingers with 11.5%. Salah is only behind Palmer for big chance involvements, and as you saw against Chelsea, he's got incredible range of passing as well, and he's still the man. Heung-min Son, fresh from his hamstring injury, as we have come to know, has elite finishing. I just mentioned that Salah's got a conversion rate of 20.8%. Well, Son has a conversion rate of 25%. He's also likely on penalties, as he took the last one that Spurs were awarded, and he's also created 4 big chances. Given Solanke's positioning, it seems like the wingers will get the chances in Ange Postecoglou's setup, with Solanke's heat map even being close to the centre circle if you check it from West Ham. And whereas Son has created 4 big chances, Johnson has created 0. So for me, it's not really a question, especially if you're looking for a Saka replacement. Just get Son, he's the better player and he's superior in every way. Mbeumo is level with Palmer for 6 goals among midfielders, and he hosts Ipswich along with a favourable fixture run. And he's certainly the best non-premium pick. He's also 1 point behind Saka in the overall standings. McNeil is the number 1 best value midfielder at 8.2 points per million, and he's already matched last season's goal tally at 3. He's moved into a number 10 position at Everton, and he's only behind Palmer, Salah and Mbeumo for big chances created at 7. So he'd be someone that you definitely need to own. Great budget enabler. Chris Wood scored in back-to-back games to offer a helping hand in what was looking like a very disastrous game week. And he's the only other player to retain top spot in the power ranking following his match winner last night. But Raul Jimenez continues to put up great underlying numbers, as you can see, at 0.79 XGI per 90, and he just seems to be in great scoring form, and he's much better value as well, so he'd actually be my pick for a wildcard given his better fixtures. Ollie Watkins has just 1 blank in his last 6 league games, and he's just a consistent forward to own. And given that Aston Villa are now a Champions League team, I think it's time that we start, recognising that they are one of the best teams in the league, and they can score in any game. Erling Haaland is on the naughty step after an anonymous display against the leakiest defence in the league for goals conceded, and at 0.02 XG is sort of concerning. But given that he hosts Southampton this week, he's the best captain to own, and he's probably on trial, but yeah, the captain armband won't be moving. And Nicholas Jackson, almost like what Ollie Watkins has been showing pretty consistent form. He only has 2 blanks in his last 7 games, but his price isn't it's not really a budget price, so he comes in at 5th, someone to watch, but he's definitely got great underlying numbers. So if I was making a wildcard for game week 9, this is how it would look. I made this team with 0.3 extra in the bank, so you probably can make some downgrades somewhere where I'll speak on later. But Sales would definitely be in goal, following his value. Slicker, again, this is just going to be a running joke now, I guess, but he's got a pink kit, he's got a cool name, and he's lowly owned at 4 million, so not much worry about him dropping in price. Pinnock, Gvardiol and Keane have all shown goal-scoring instincts, and they have great fixtures coming up, so they would be my picks in defence. As with Murillo at 4.5, he can rotate. As well as Okoli at Leicester, he's a 4 million playing defender. He started the last 7 games, I believe, playing 90 minutes in all of them. The midfield picks is where it gets interesting. Of course, Palmer would be the vice-captain home to Newcastle, and he's just, he's seemingly he's got one of the most best routes to points out of all the midfielders, following his big chance involvements over the opening 8 game weeks. Son would be the second premium, and you can have those 2 slots for maybe upgrading or downgrading to Salah or Son, Saka or Son. And Mbeumo obviously is just a great value pick. McNeil as well, and Buonanotte would be a great 8th midfielder to own. But if you can't afford this wildcard, you can probably downgrade him to a 4.5 like Dibbling, or again maybe you can downgrade McNeil to Rodgers. But I'd try to own most of these big hitters. Then of course Raul represents great value. Erling Haaland will be the captain. I won't say it's his last chance, but if he does blank against Southampton, questions will be asked, especially when we want to fit Salah in our team. And of course Watkins is just very consistent, as I mentioned, 1 blank in his last 6, and he's just a great striker to own. So that's what my wildcard team would look like. What would yours look like? Drop it in the comments. And how did your game week 8 go? Let me know in the comments also. Mine, as you can see, is a red arrow. Yeah, so we'll speak about my team in a team selection video later this week. So thank you. And please like, share, subscribe, and peace.